Hi, welcome to today's piano tutorial on Debussy's first arabesque. Debussy wrote a set of two arabesques in 1890 and 1891 respectively. They represent very early works by Debussy, and the two arabesques really are classed as his first two important piano works. Incidentally, Debussy met Satie for the first time in 1890. Let's have a really quick listen to how both of the arabesques sound. And the second. Something like that. Before we look at the music and get started on the tutorial proper, let's have a think about what is an arabesque. Paris in the 1890s, Debussy found himself immersed in a melting pot of creativity, art, dance, music. To understand an arabesque, we need to delve a little bit into the world of art. So, an arabesque in the world of art is an elaborate or ornamental pattern or decoration. It can be made of scrolls, spirals, interlacing foliage, tendrils, curving lines, and linear geometric patterns. It is also known as the line of continuity. Arabesques appeared in art as early as in ancient Greece. And as the name suggests, it's an incredibly important component in the geometric patterns that are so indicative of Islamic art. The Islamic arabesque encompass the internal spiral, symmetry, structure, rhythm and balance. So interesting to hear this, isn't it? Because all of these words and descriptions we could translate into music. I'm going to put up some pictures, or you'll have seen some pictures on the other side demonstrating what some arabesques in art look like. Following from the Islamic art arabesques, the arabesques appeared a lot in Renaissance art and sculpture, all the way through to the 18th century when it fell out of favour a little bit. However, today, no matter where you look, you can see arabesques in life, in furnishings, in fashion, in architecture, all over. I've even put some pictures of a walk in my hometown today, and I was spotting arabesques everywhere as I went. Ultimately in art, you could say the arabesque represents the flow of life, nature and eternity. When translated from art to music, the arabesque includes these three features: decoration of a theme with counterpoint, use of gruppetti, which is turns, as decoration. We'll see that a lot. And rapidly changing harmonies. And these harmonic changes don't necessarily have the impetus to drive the music in a certain direction. That really does sum up what happens in Debussy's first arabesque. And finally, what Debussy said of the arabesque in Baroque music. He said, "That was the age of the wonderful arabesque, when music was subject to the laws of beauty, inscribed by the movements of nature herself." He did use the term arabesque widely, and he referred to motifs in Bach, and the counterpoint obviously in Bach, plain song, and his own piece, L'après-midi d'une faune, as a perfect example of the arabesque. You can just hear that playing at the moment. So after that little introduction, let's see how the arabesque of the art world translates into the arabesque in Debussy's musical sound world. Okay, so as usual, I'll put the score up and I'll annotate as we go along so you can see in the music where I'm referring to. So we're in the key of E major, 4 beats in each bar, And Debussy tells us andantino con moto. So with movement and andantino, we're at a gentle walking pace, but we're moving forward in the music all the time. We begin with what I would describe as a 5-bar introduction. And this introduction introduces us to the leitmotifs, the motifs that are found in the music. So let's just listen to the first 5 bars, the introduction. Okay, so bar 1. As you can see, it's triplets and it's in broken chords. But the first thing we want to do is to play in chords, the basis of the notes, the bones of the notes. So when we open, we have an A major triad in first inversion. So it floats, it's not rooted. And it sends us into a little bit of a spiral of, what key are we in? Are we in A major? But we're not. It's the 4th chord, the subdominant chord in the first inversion. And if you notice, the broken chords pass in a single line between right hand and left hand, with a nice little rising steps touching before we fall. So to feel the harmonies, slightly questioning and floating, touching, gently sad, inquiring. Ooh, are we resolving? Maybe. So to get the feeling of this is one line, play slowly and listen to the shape and feel as if it's maybe one instrument playing. Also, an idea you could do, this is quite interesting, you could play the whole thing with one hand to get that feeling of this is one line, this is one voice. Okay, so beautifully connected. We're going to pedal, enough pedal, so we have the resonance, but not so much pedal that it sounds chordal as opposed to one line. Now, when we played in chords, obviously I've left out the passing steps at the top. Notice we've got 4 descending steps. Okay, so although the A isn't there for right hand in the opening 2 beats, it's there by implication, and it's there, isn't it, in left hand. So there's, and in fact, A, G sharp, F sharp, E is, I would say, the fundamental and most basic thematic material, the leitmotif that appears throughout the piece. And it's seen so beautifully and gloriously in the last page, but we'll get to that later. So when we enter, as I said, in the first inversion, we drift in. We don't bump in, we drift in, and in-breath. And so when you rise, you're searching, you're looking, you're slightly questioning, hopeful, and then the descending, a different feeling. It's asking with those steps. And now, bar 3, we see for the first time that actually, although the first 2 bars were one voice, one line, we're splitting now. We're splitting into 3 parts, okay? Counterpoint, 3 parts. Firstly in the bass. So the first job is to bring your awareness to this. So we've got 4 descending steps, which I said was the most important motif, ending up to the B, so 5 steps in all. And then in the centre, we have our rippling thirds. Okay, so the third, they flow. They flow throughout the piece as if they begin and they keep going and they never end. They're like the flow of life. And you could hear that kind of arabesque kind of thing, can't you there? So bar 3. This is in the middle, the triplets, the arpeggiated triplets in the middle voice. So let's hear the middle voice with the bass. So, the bass note, you need to hear it, you need to see it, hear it in your head, feel it with your fingers. You don't necessarily need to emphasize it or bring it out as a voice. You can if you want to. You just need to know it's there. The quavers, the triplets in the middle, they're there. They just keep turning and flowing like life moving forward. And at the top, we have a melody, a rising fourth, and then almost like the rising triad, augmented, so extended. So let's have the bottom voice and the top voice. And in the middle, you've got your flowing triplets. Let's hear them all together. Can you feel those 3 lines? So you've gone from actually a chordal introduction, 2 bars of chords that are broken up into flowing triplets that just float in with no bump, almost like you've caught the breeze and floated along with it in the music. And then bar 3 and 4, we split. Actually, it's not just this, it's 3 voices, and throughout the piece from then on, we have loads of counterpoint and different threads, all intermingling and talking and communicating together. So shall we listen to bar 1 to 4, and then we'll look at bar 5. And in bar 5, you have such poise, you have the beautiful questioning harmony, and the triplets are taken over by left hand. So the triplets, no matter what iteration or what's happening, the triplets flow and blend from one type to another, one feeling to another, almost like one perfume to another, one colour to another. And then in the right hand, it feels, although we didn't talk about the arabesque in dance, and of course I'm sure you know what an arabesque position is, there are moments in this piece, and in fact in both of the arabesques, they are balletic, they are poised, they are so light. I feel that there is an influence of dance in there as well. And this is a moment where, if you imagine the position of an arabesque, you can almost feel that poise in the music in bar 5. Could you hear it? Could you feel that? So, and now this bar, almost time stands still. Listen to the sounds captured in the pedal. And then we take time and fall down with our very important descending steps. and then on we go to, I suppose, what you could call the piece proper. I would say the first 5 bars, they're a preamble, an introduction. So the first 5 bars are almost like the prologue. They're introducing all the material before the story starts in bar 6. Notice that in the first 5 bars, we really don't touch home harmony. There's nowhere where we really say, oh yes, we're in E major. It's a fantasy. It feels like an improvisation, and definitely the whole piece needs to sound improvised, because the piece, it grows organically out of itself. The whole piece, it grows from a few notes and a few motifs, uses those and grows organically all the way through. And it is definitely as if Debussy just sat down and improvised it. He didn't, but that's how it sounds and how you want it to feel. So shall we listen to the improvisatory first 5 bars leading in to when we have our first touch of E major. Just remember in bar 5, take your time and luxuriate in the harmony and in the waiting. So beautiful. And as the A falls down, G sharp, F sharp to E. Home note, home key, and oh, we're safe. Left hand gives us a beautiful E major broken chord, and don't let it slip past your notice, but the A, G sharp, F sharp, E, which is the bones of the opening chords and the very important thematic as we lead into bar 6. Okay, so you spot these little references to the 4 descending steps everywhere. Okay, so left hand. So feeling safe, feeling at home. Yearning. And then at the top, a rising step as it questions. And as we have our thematic 4 descending steps, this will be turned on its head throughout the piece to ascending steps, a step, a few steps in a row and everything, but it's sort of hidden in there. And the 4 descending steps are sort of diminuted in our lovely triplet melody. Descending fourths. At the time when Debussy wrote this, I believe he had been to the Paris exhibition where he was exposed to the gamelan music, Balinese music, and here the notes are made up of the pentatonic scale. It makes you think perhaps the arabesque, the Islamic art, the Arabian arabesque as it were. You know, it comes to mind a little bit, doesn't it here? This is a lovely fingering. If you look, I'll do it slowly, look at the keyboard. Question of your 2s against 3s, your rhythm, basically get used to each hand. If it's troublesome, There's loads of videos on YouTube helping you with cross rhythms. I think what I remember my professor said to me once, okay, you choose against threes, here's the rhythm. And that was it then. You know, you feel it, you just feel it. Just don't worry about it, because as long as you're fluent with right hand, fluent with left hand, basically they're independent entities. They should slot together, no problem. Okay, so how I would describe this is, imagine in a garden and a leaf is fluttering gently to the ground. It's caught on the breeze. Such a light feeling, dolcissimo, transparent. And then different. You need to, in this piece, there's no struggle. It's not Beethoven. There's no searching. It's enjoy. It's a walk through nature and enjoying seeing the different things. It's just a piece to purely enjoy playing. Let's have another listen. Almost breathe in before your right hand triplets. You have your one beat and then no bumps, no downbeats, all up. And then the different, when you lose your triplets, to here. And if you think the E starts, you come down your pentatonic with your fourths, then E, D sharp, C sharp, B. There's your 4 steps again. It sings there. So light, fluttering down, and then sings. And then we repeat. So on the repeat, you may feel it's gentler. You may feel a different sound. And we're leading on to something new. And here we have our first, this is the joining together of a rising step and a falling step, our turn. And if you remember the description of an arabesque in music, it will be decorated by gruppetti, which are turns. So, descending and then sing. So the line is basically decorated by the turns. And what's happening to the line? What's new here is in both left hand and right hand, we start an upward flow, an upward movement in the music. Before we look at that upward movement, just notice when we get to bar 6, we have an E pedal in the bass. And it forms a safe cloud below right hand, so right hand can trickle down the triplets. So we reach bar 10 and left hand loses the pedal E and starts its journey up the steps, which basically has inverted our downward 4 steps. And then go up the dominant 7th harmony. So at the same time as left hand is climbing, right hand has its turns. It almost asks, answers, sings, asks, answers. To here. So we're sort of we're searching in the music, we're looking around as we rise, the right hand has its turns, but as it asks, it answers, and you hear all of this kind of conversation going on in the music. So let's listen up to, basically, before we get to there, let's go from bar 6. Oh, a little note there. So we are pedaling with lots of pedal. It's not too deep, the pedal, if you're on a grand piano or an acoustic piano. Enough pedal to hold the resonances, but not too much so that you lose any clarity. Now you need, because with these steps being really mid-range, and if you have too much pedal, these are going to mush and you'll lose clarity. So really careful to ease up the pedal. If you're on a digital, it won't show as much because the polyphony value, you know what I mean, it's not going to be so resonant. But if you're on a big piano like me, you have to be really careful, and basically pedal is not going to make left hand as legato if you're lifting to make right hand have clarity. So legatissimo in left hand to hold some of that harmony if you're not catching it in the pedal to give right hand clarity, if you see what I mean. Let's listen. You want to hear, really important to hear that first turn, because the turn is one of the main motific features, so really important. But if let's pretend we just keep the pedal as resonant as it was, so not good. Okay, so we're going to change and make the pedal less resonant. Enough lift, a little air. It can be a flutter, it can be a heightened, a less deep pedal. Lift the pedal, it depends what your environment is like. If you've any resonance in your environment, you can have a moment where you literally have a breath away from the pedal. I've no resonance, I've got carpet, so you've got to adjust according to your environment, of course. Let's go from... So I did 2 very light, not a flutter, but just 2 light pedals. So remember the sort of conversant feeling. So there's like a mordant, but it's a tone. That asks, and then this answers. And then sing, so. And then it develops, it grows, it crescendos, and let your emotions run with it. The direction is always crescendo and stringendo. So you're crescendoing, you're building, you're moving forwards. Let's go from the turns. So it's a singer, okay? And there we have that the down, the one step, again and again and again, developing the 4 descending steps. And then, we have our opening again, and isn't it just glorious? We have our... Beautiful. Let's listen to it. get ready for something beautiful. Feel that from the turn onwards, almost like you're swept along with the music, and it does that quite a lot. Now, page 2, or should I say bar 19. Left hand, we have our rippling triplets. And you can hear that's an augmented turn, what we'd call a turn, perhaps really a mordant, but what did we have there? We had our descending sets, didn't we? So do you notice how, even though, I mean, it's an accompanying feature, isn't it? It is an accompaniment, the triplets, but there's a hidden melody with the top line, with the steps, and also it's almost standalone, isn't it? The harmony's so expressive. So we have really just surprising turns of harmony that you don't expect, and with Debussy it doesn't lead to where you think it's going to. So when you had the glorious, did you expect? No, it's a surprise. It's a question in the right hand, but it's a really surprising harmony. So you want a new colour. Let's listen to the colour. You want dolcissimo, because this is the melody, like a singer, dolcissimo, and also practice left hand on its own to get a really transparent, a wispy, will-o'-the-wisp sound. So as you rise, asking, but the hands are unified, so we're now going to move down together. And this is 2 parts at the moment, isn't it? Not 3, 2. Notice how right hand asks this rising arpeggio, and if you think back to, you have a step, your arpeggio notes, followed by the steps. This is kind of that reverse step, the sort of where the notes have come from. So asking, that little question is diminuted, it is compressed here, and again, however, in triplets. So it takes your breath away a little bit as the same question is reiterated, but in the triplet form. Let's have a listen to the questions again and again. And it sounds, well, as the question becomes diminuted and repeated, it almost feels a little bit like drop a pebble in some water and the ripples flow out from it. See if you can hear that. And then it's diminuted further. It's made now into triplets, the same question, and Debussy puts a writ. So take the time to listen really carefully. Let's go from 21. Really expressive. D natural, so the dominant seventh, and maybe we're in D major, but actually we're moving on. Let's listen from the start of this section up to the a tempo. So notice when we get to halfway through bar 23, we have a B pedal in the left hand. And we feel kind of stable and safe after all of those transitions, all those changing harmonies, the pedal drops into the water and the ripples and changing harmonies that we don't quite know where we are and where we're going, but we're asking a question and it's being answered, and we get to our tempo and we feel kind of safe. Now you're rippling triplets, so we have our top voice and in the middle. Again, because of where they are on the piano, they need to be a little bit transparent and clear. They're not arpeggiated notes, so the clarity, which you still get with more pedal in the arpeggio notes, with them being stepwise and turning, the gruppetti kind of thing, you need to be really careful with your pedal. You know, certainly if you were anywhere with some resonance, anywhere with some resonance, you're going to really lift up your pedal. If you're like me, you'll have a little bit. And they're an under voice, okay? So you hear your C sharp at the top. Almost like a side note. It's just rippling on all the time. Sing. Rippling on underneath, okay? Again, careful with the pedal. I know different, sorry about that sticky out D sharp. A nice inner voice that just to be aware that it's there, you don't need to bring it out. In bar 29. Lovely melody in the middle, a hidden melody. Okay, so notice when we lose the triplets and what happens in the music and when they come back. Okay, so almost even when they're not there, they're like something that bubbles along eternally. They're always there even if we can't see them. And that's why they slide back in, you know, so we have them and then we lose them and they come back in. They're always there below the surface, even if, imagine they're there below the surface even if we can't hear them. So we're going to take it from the tempo in bar 26. And when we get to 29, listen for the less movement and the sweep as we grow and feel the emotions as left hand reaches down. So it's low F sharp. Okay, let's go from there. When we get to bar 31. So we've got three parts. And very clearly the 4 descending steps has been turned on its head and it's now rising. As the music, the intensity and the emotion of the music grows in the sweep, we also have the left-hand triplets in 31 and 33. Again, listen hard. It's that feeling of almost the eternal spinning wheel in music, if you know what I mean. It's almost caught back onto the flow, the triplet flow, but you want to be careful that it's a sweep of sound, but at the same time articulated. Clearer could that be? All those ascending steps from to there. There's your 4. It's quite funny there because before you have the 4 descending steps turned on the head and rising up to heaven, you have and then there it is, the A, G sharp, F sharp, E of the asking with left hand descending. So all the parts are just so beautifully interwoven. Enjoy. You just learn the shapes and practice like this to get used to it, and almost like feel that this is the thirds are like an instrument on that side of your hand. And then extended appoggiatura suspension of the downward. So we've got a lot of interplay between the ascending steps and the descending steps. So before we move on to the new section, let's just recap a little bit of the motifs to look out for and some of the important things. So our 4 descending steps, really important. Our triplets, our internal triplets that are flowing underneath the piece even if we can't hear them. And if they stop for a moment, we just jump back on board and they continue. You feel that flow. A little bit of pentatonic harmonies. We're going to feel that the music basically organically grows from the first motif in the first couple of bars. The music, it feels as if the vines are growing and overspilling and twisting and turning with each other. I wrote this down as a description of the piece: the synergy of life, nature entwined with time unfolding, and it feels like the human experience. That was my kind of summing up of the piece as I was working on it. Okay, so after you've climbed up all your steps, E major at last. I mean, did we ever stop and enjoy E major? We had the hint of it here, didn't we? But oh my goodness, What a build-up. I'm home. Bloody bells. Can you hear those E bells? Now, what I think is nice to do here is enjoy the luxury of that we're actually in E major. Okay, so you hear all the resonance in the pedal, and then we have our bell, and gradually lifting the pedal. Now, it's rather nice if you have the very low E, if you've got a piano like this, or to some extent you can do this on an upright, but if you sneak up the pedal really gradually, some of the sounds, some of the harmonies, and some of the resonances, the harmonics, will remain caught in the piano. And it's quite nice if you have a tiny touch of the low E remaining. So let's see if we can hear it. Can you hear it? So that was slow motion, or you can clear it completely. But there needs to be a gradual clearing process. So you have your bells left, obviously with this one held, because that's going to be part of the melody going forward. As we look through the piece and we notice the turns, the steps, the triplets, the motifs, the conscious needs to become unconscious. You need to know it's all there, but then the piece must just flow, like we said, like an improvisation. So the middle section, immediately we lose our D sharp, so suggestive that we're actually in A major. And imagine, I think the first section up to now was you're in a beautiful walled garden, like a Monet kind of garden, and all the colours of the flowers and the butterflies. You could sort of imagine that kind of feeling, or a little walk in nature anyway. This middle section, I feel that we're somewhere less completely natural, like perhaps there's a church, and we're kind of slowed down, we're taking in, we're observing. And a reason I say a church, because later on in this section, it does sound, it reminds me a little bit of the Ingolf Cathedral. It sounds a little bit like an organ. Okay, so this is why it's kind of, we've slowed down, we're still walking, but we're taking everything in. Okay, so we're touching on to, it feels like we're going to be in A major, because we're losing our D sharps. Okay, so straight away, a turn. All our features, all our motifs are still there. But have a look, how many parts are we in? We're very clearly in 4 parts. So we have our melody. Okay, and then in the middle. Ooh, D sharp. Are we really in A major? And then third part down. And then at the bass. Okay, so with 4 clear parts. All right, a little bit like a chorale maybe. I am in A major, but actually no, I'm not. And take your time and listen to the harmonies. He says tempo rubato, so we can take time, we can move forward, we can hold back. Surprise. No, I am in A major. And I'm saying it twice. And yes, I definitely am in A major. Are you sure? Oh, because listen. Oh, diminished. No, I am actually major. So it's twists and turns of the harmony. You don't really know what to expect. You're taking your time and basically you're enjoying the surroundings, and you just let the music take you on a journey while you notice everything that's going on. It's so conversational, and pare it down so you look at the parts that Debussy has taken the time to write. So play them individually, as if you were learning, if you ever learn a fugue or an invention by Bach, you would learn the subject, you would then learn the counter subject, you would then learn each part. If it's a 3-part fugue, you would memorise each part individually, and you would care for each line as if that line is a singer. Same thing, you do it to Debussy as well. Respect the music, respect that he has written the counterpoint. So let's have a little listen and see what happens. Surprise. When left hand comes in, the E rising to F sharp, it is surprising. It's almost like you're reminiscing about something that's happened a long time ago and remembering what happened, and there's a definite retrospective feel. And the play between what key am I in? Are you sure? Yes. Yes, I am. Definitely A major. But are you sure? Diminished. Actually, E major. And here we go. We have our triplets back. And at the same time, feel left hand, descending step, rising forth. So from the mosso, we're rising with right hand with the triplet. And notice each time we have one of these rising sweeps, it's a building of movement, emotion, crescendo. Okay, till we reach. And then we fall down with our 4 descending steps. Unifying with the both hands, both parts. And then we have this theme back again, and it's more open. How? So we're on a dominant 7th, but the gaps, the spaces between the voices is more open. Okay, so again, make sure to check out your parts. 4 descending steps in the bass, and there they are opening. A, G sharp, F sharp, E, reversed. E, F sharp, G sharp, A, and then in the middle voice. And then in right hand, you've got a lovely hidden, mostly chromatic line. And then our turns, rubati. Let's try it. So we hear the parts, we see the parts, we hear them, we feel them, and then we let them just go back into the music. diminuta de poggiatura almost, and then it says it again, but it's augmented, so you all in one breath. And then different. And again, the 4 parts really, really clear. And I feel on the very final time that we have this theme, because we've had it once, twice, 4 times really, haven't we? It comes 4 times, each time with very minor changes, little changes. I feel that in the 4th time we say it, look at the middle voice, the 2nd voice up, yeah. That the F sharp, I'll highlight it on the score, goes to F, and then I feel that it actually goes into the 2nd voice down, because look how far that goes, all of those steps. And I feel that if you want to, it's okay to actually bring those out to the fore. Did you hear it? So let's... It is a little bit hymnal, isn't it, would you say? A little bit chorale. You're going to hear why I feel a church anyway, coming up next. Let's try and hear the inner voice. It is hymnal, basically. I mean, who knows what Debussy had in his head when he wrote it, but anything we hear that brings the music to life for us, he would agree with, yeah. Particularly nature, I mean, he talked a lot on music. There are lots of his kind of writings and stuff, and hearing a breeze or seeing clouds floating past, they were inspirations to him, you know. Okay, so let's just play from our tempo in bar 55, and then we'll go on to risoluto. Remember, we're looking around, we're taking it in, we're enjoying all the different nuances. Crescendo through the E to the E. So although it's hard to crescendo within 2 notes, you feel it. So you feel it within, and then you build it up. Okay, so like an organ's risen up, and it's there's a lovely symmetry in this part, the right hand ascending, the left hand ascending, and then vice versa, resolutely. And then before this crescendo in bar 65, it's one of those moments where you can drop before growing. So have a listen. And then this is the answer. So we ended up in C major. You know, that was a surprise, wasn't it? Let's listen to that surprise. E major, and then C major, drop, almost like a coda, a kind of transition before we're going to return to our home theme. And so here's the answer, but so different. And cheeky upper semitone. So we've snuck out of the C major. Still all in parts. Drop. Answer. Are you sure? Is it really happening? Magical. And then, oh. And we're back to beautiful triplet land again. Let's play on. And just enjoy so much, so beautiful. And then it's so pointed out, and then listen, you could think answering. Let's try bringing it out and seeing if we can hear the descending steps talking to each other. Oh, perfect synergy. Those 4 steps, and then, oh, so it's just a miracle, isn't it? So beautiful. Holding up those harmonies, almost poised on your tiptoes like a ballerina, listening to the beautiful resonance, all caught in the pedal, and then off we go. Now, our triplet descending fourths, pentatonic scale kind of figure, this time it says P, not PP. So we can be slightly more, but I would say the second time perhaps it would be less. So anyway, let's see. Can you hear it? And then so something occurs to me, and so it's okay if you hear it in a voice and you want to make it slightly more prominent, because there isn't a right and a wrong. You're expressing what the music is saying to you. Although the score is our Bible and we must notice everything that the composer says and respect what the composer says, and the score is everything, and the score that we know is a good score that's like an text. But I just can't help but want to do this. So when we you have your descending steps there, and because it's P and not PP, it just feels right that then when left hand takes over, listen to what I mean. Did you hear it? Because the right hand is P, it makes this more prominent. And then when it's almost like it's woken up that inner voice in left hand. See if you like it. Could you hear it? Yeah, passing the voice through. And then we sweep on, we have our turns, we have our big sweeps of sound. Careful with the pedal. Conversational. Oh, relief. And now I say the last page is like an extended coda. And I remember talking about Debussy's love of the long, extended, descending lines that feel like they're going to go on forever. Okay, I remember talking about that in the Clair de Lune tutorial. So there are lots of long descending lines in this piece and long ascending lines, but when we get to 89, we have a descending line par excellence. It goes on and on and on and on. So let's just mark it up on the score where it goes. So to here, and then one of my favourite moments in the piece. So the left hand, you can see it so clearly. A, G sharp, F sharp, E, D. We're playing with where are we again? All the way to here. Okay, so whilst that's happening, right hand, top, it's in 4 parts again here, so. Oh, surprise. Harmony, asking, and so forth. So top down, and then let's play it in 2 parts with 2 hands. And then left hand, let's do top 2 parts and bass note. When you get to here, notice that the second part down, so right hand lower part, instead of having the breaks in, becomes also minims and works together with left hand. Okay, and all along with those lovely 3 parts, we have our eternal triplets. Okay, so it's just a delight, the next 4 bars. The preceding, the coda from here, feel the harmonic surprises. I should just quickly say that before I get caught up in bar 95. So we've lost our D sharp, surprise. Are you really sure? Well, perhaps it's going to be okay. You see that kind of feeling with the harmony? Okay, so 95. So have a look what right hand has. A, G sharp, F sharp, E. A, G sharp, F sharp, E. And the most loveliest thing is, we hear this whilst the left hand's rippling triplets play. So have a listen. Okay, so it's just divine to see the opening has come to fruition with the beautiful trailing vines. What can you see when you hear this? Put it in the comments. Yearning. So the triplets are winding around. They are just decorating the 4 descending steps. Is there anything more beautiful? That's my favourite part of the piece. I think it's absolutely lovely. Home. And here we have up an octave our triplet descending 4th theme. It's just blissful, it's peace, it's just pure contentment. Yeah, there's no struggle, there's no strife, there's no searching, it's just blissful. New sound. And a little bit the ease at the end, a little bit like heavy vibrato on a plucked note in the strings. So a resonant, if you can imagine what I mean. And then when we get our rising, oh my goodness, you know, we are in E major. It's taken us till the end of the piece to have all of that in the left hand, but even so, it is rather disguised. A little bit of your pentatonic, and this really is this transformed. Descending 4ths, but it's an accompanying feature, yeah. Left hand's leading. Glistening. So beautiful. I hope you've enjoyed looking through Debussy's first arabesque with me. Leave me any questions in the comments and I'll pop another video up that I think you could watch next, probably the Clair de Lune tutorial. Alright, I'll see you next time. Bye.